Alright, we are back with Daredevil Born Again Season 1, and 2 new episodes dropped this week, episodes 5 and 6. But there's not as much for me to talk about as you might think. So we're gonna get started, but first, our usual spoiler warning. If you have not yet watched these episodes and you're planning on it, then I do suggest to turn a blind eye because I will be talking about what happens in these episodes in detail, for the most part. If you have seen them or you don't care, then you can stick around, you're good. Alright, so episode 5, we start on St. Patty's Day, which was, last week, right babe? Yeah, the 17th, that was last week. So kinda catching up with us, but neither here nor there. Mr. Matt Murdock makes a visit to the bank, where we do see a familiar face, Mr. Yusuf Khan, who turns out is an assistant manager there. We Marvel MCU nerds, we know Mr. Yusuf Khan as the father of Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel. So it was great to see him. I mean, I did see him in one of the ads for this show, so it wasn't that big of a surprise. The real surprise was how much he was gonna shove the Miss Marvel Easter eggs in our faces, cause yeah, he wasn't exactly subtle about it. Nice going there, writers. He's like, yeah, look at this hand-painted Funko Pop. Like, yeah, Matt Murdock can't see it. Basically just showing us, the audience. He also does mention that his daughter Kamala is in California, which does have me thinking, I'm like, what's she doing in California? Maybe visiting Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter, trying to put together the Young Avengers? But she lives up in San Francisco. Yusuf Khan mentioned that Kamala's in La La Land. That's Los Angeles. Can't think of... Wait, is She-Hulk in Los Angeles? I can't remember. I think she is. Can't imagine why Miss Marvel would want to visit She-Hulk, but moving on. Some robbers show up, and we can move on from this, right? Because from here on, it's pretty much just a filler episode. Matt Murdock / Daredevil, quote-unquote, deals with a bank robbery, or an attempted one anyway. Couple of cool things to mention here, though. I did like Matt Murdock using his Daredevil skills to help out. Like, not only beating up those guys, but using his super hearing to open the vault. That was actually really cool. And it's something I don't remember seeing Daredevil do before, but it makes sense. Radar sense and super hearing and all. Also, the fact that the head robber was a dirty cop, I feel like that's worth mentioning for sure. Or at the very least, disguised as one. He might not have actually been one, but in either case, Matt beats him up anyway. And that's pretty much that. Okay, moving on to the more important episode here, episode 6, because quite a few things to talk about here. Also funny how both of these episodes have been the shortest yet. They're both like 40-something minutes long. I hope they don't get even shorter from here on out. But Ep 6 starts out, I mean, first off, we get a swordsman shout out. If you remember Swordsman from the Hawkeye series, he ended up being a vigilante who was pretty much like one of the Three Musketeers. In fact, I remember when I was talking about the Hawkeye series as it was airing, what did I call him? Like Musketeer Man or something? Or Musketeer Mustache? I called him something funny. I forget. But yeah, point is he's still active. That's cool. We even see him later. Tony Dalton makes a guest appearance as Jack Duquesne. He talks to Wilson Fisk, and he's pretty much like, yeah, I don't agree with what you're doing, and fuck you. It's pretty much the gist. For the most part, though, this episode focuses on the problem with Muse, and his blood graffiti and his Johnny Health-isms. So Angela Ayala comes up, Hector's niece, we remember her, and again, she's like fucking pissed. She goes up to Matt Murdock, she's like, you're not doing shit, I'm sorry for assuming you cared. I just want to be like, bitch, like Matt said, it's not that simple. And ultimately, she does end up paying the price for it, in a way anyway. I mean, she goes down there to try to track Muse. I mean, what was she thinking? She almost becomes his next victim. I'll get back to that in a second, because there is one more pretty important thing worth mentioning here, and that is Kingpin's little anti-vigilante task force. Yeah, this is pretty disturbing. He rounds together all the dirty cops that we've seen over the course of this season. That Powell guy and a bunch of others, they all have Punisher tattoos, or at least quite a few of them do. We see them. These are the cops that pretty much are vigilantes anyway, just without the masks. They're willing to use excessive force, which ties into why that's the title of this episode, excessive force. Or at least that's one of the double meanings of it. Point is, this is not good. An anti-vigilante force of might as well be vigilantes, dirty cops that Kingpin rounds up. We'll see them in later episodes, I'm sure. Alright, so that night, Matt Murdock gets a call from Soledad Ayala saying that Angela is missing, and he was looking into Muse's stuff anyway, so he figures it out pretty easily. And I love this. It's actually pretty funny because both Babe and I, we were like, come on, Daredevil again, put on the suit. And when he gets his phone and he calls 911, we were both like, no. And then he puts down the phone, he changes his mind, he's like, fuck it. We're both like, yes. Yeah, that was a pretty good fake out. We both thought that he was gonna cave. It was hilarious too, because he was just like, fuck it. And finally, after 5.5 episodes, Daredevil returns! It's great to see the man without fear finally back. He has certainly been born again. Cause he's had enough of this shit. It's been made clear to him that Daredevil is absolutely necessary because the police are just not getting enough done here. And so he goes to take on Muse. Meanwhile, we get Kingpin going down to Adam again, and we get another parallel. Another great one too, I might add. Cause while Daredevil is beating the shit out of Muse, and vice versa, it's a pretty good fight actually, Kingpin is giving Adam a chance to escape. And by that we mean Kingpin is just beating the shit out of Adam. They're both regressing to their old ways. That's what the overarching story of this season has been.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
And the fact that Kingpin gave Adam an axe is fucking crazy too. And Kingpin just straight up beat him anyway. Quite literally. Because he bashes his face in classic Kingpin fashion. All that was missing was the car door for him to slam him with. So yeah, Adam's as good as dead. Meanwhile, Angela is okay, thank goodness. But Muse got away. So that's not good. But the good news is Daredevil is back. I mean, I'm sure that's gonna mess with Matt in the head a little bit. Plus the fact that now there's this anti-vigilante task force out there. I'm sure they're gonna run across Daredevil, they're gonna get wind of him, and therefore Fisk is gonna get word of that, so that'll piss him off, and that's gonna lead to our finale. That's gonna be epic. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, in the end, that was our 2 episodes for tonight. Episode 5 was pretty much filler, just a bank robbery scenario and Matt Murdock dealing with it. But then episode 6, that's where we actually get some plot advancement. A new anti-vigilante task force composed of dirty cops, Muse coming to the forefront, Wilson Fisk becoming Kingpin again, and Matt Murdock becoming Daredevil again. And now the cool thing is we have 3 episodes left of this season, so we're gonna get some Daredevil time. I was afraid we weren't gonna see him in the suit again until like the finale. I'm glad that's not the case. Hopefully the excitement's gonna rev up in this 3rd act of the season, the final 3 episodes. I'm sure that is gonna happen. But until then, Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Episode 5, With Interest, and Episode 6, Excessive Force. Have you watched these episodes yet? What are your thoughts on them? Which episode did you like more? And what are your theories and predictions for next week's episode and or the rest of the season? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta brush up on Fallout Season 1, because I just finished watching that. That's gonna be my next video, and holy shit. Yeah, spoiler alert, it's awesome, so be here for that. Peace!